All right. Has anybody not used Google Classroom before? Has everybody used Google Classroom before? Okay. All right. So you know how to get to Google Classroom then, right? Okay. Then if you'll go to Google Classroom, and if you don't know how to do that, it's just classroom.google.com. Okay. And then you're going to have to enter this class code for this class. Every class is a different class code. So if you join the class, let me just take this one off the screen here. And this is what your Google Classroom should look like. Does it look like that for you guys? All right, so the first thing we need to do, and why is the lunch menu not showing up here? All right. Everybody got the lunch menu figured out? Or the lunch order form figured out? Okay. So in Google Classroom, you probably already know this, as you guys are familiar with it. You got a stream, and you got classwork, and you got people right here. Okay. So most of your assignments you'll find, well, in fact, I shouldn't say everything, because occasionally there might be something else. I can't think of anything that wouldn't be. Most of your assignments you're going to find on classwork. Other things that aren't classwork you'll find on stream. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit, I put in some information here for you on, you can figure out who your guidance counselor is if you don't know, who your principal is if you don't know, and these two links go to web pages that have email addresses for those. If you need to see a guidance counselor or principal this year, you have to email them and ask for them to let you come see them, and they will call for you. You can't just go down there because you asked for it. Okay, so it's not a choice thing by students anyway. Okay, they'll get to you as soon as they can get to you, but they got a lot of things going on, just like we got a lot of things going on this year. Okay, if you scroll down just a little bit more, I put an article I read over the weekend I thought was really interesting, because I require, you're smiling, what's going on? Well, I mean, I thought something was funny, I didn't know about it. Okay. So this is why the United States doesn't use the metric system and the rest of the world does. I think there's only 2 countries that still use, I call it the imperial measuring system, the inches and feet thing, you know. But it's a pretty interesting article. It's not required that you read it, but I think if you want to know why we use the metric system, this pretty much explains it. It's a lot easier to use the metric system, and we'll be talking about that. Okay. In order for you to go to the nurse, I have to call the nurse and have them send for you or come get you. Okay, that's also something new. All right. So if you're going to the bathroom, you know how teachers used to have those little bathroom passes and everybody takes it. Can't do that this year. I have to give you a pass. It has to be signed by me. Okay, so it has to be written out in pen. And what I do, what I've been doing anyway for a couple of years, is, and you look over my left shoulder here, I've got information on how you fill out a pass. I've got passes already made out for going to the bathroom or to the nurse, and they're signed, but you have to stand here in front of me and fill it out for me, okay? So I know that it's being filled out properly. You're not just putting down there that you're going somewhere else, okay? We don't go to the cafeteria, I mean the cafe at all, at least for right now, okay? They haven't figured out any way to make that work yet and keep everything safe, okay? On the subject of being safe, you can take your mask off in the classroom, okay, if you want to. Now, that's not, you can wear it if you want to. That's fine. I'm not suggesting you take them off. If you want to wear them, wear them. Okay, I'm kind of picky about that too. All right, but if you're not in your desk, you have to wear a mask. So if you're coming up, if you need to go to the bathroom, you're going to have to wear your mask, put it on before you leave your desk, and come see me. That makes sense? Okay? And then, yeah.
So for PES, what would they do for PES?
They'll tell you. I have no idea how they're going to handle gym activities. Okay, that's a whole new thing too.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that's not my area, and they'll tell you what to do. All right, you scroll down here a little more, and you see where it says textbook. Okay. Now I'll have a copy of each unit textbook in the unit because I'm going to give you the opportunity to earn extra credit by reading your textbook, okay? By studying your textbook. And what this is, I'm working on converting all the textbook. I sort of created the textbook for this class because a regular printed textbook always has stuff you don't need and has a bunch of stuff you do need. It's not in there. So I just put everything in one place, okay? There are actually some online textbooks now that are pretty good, but I've been doing this for years, so it kind of fits exactly what the state requires and what I usually teach. So those are right there, and if you open that up and look at that, when I put it into the unit, it's not this one. You can't highlight this one. You can't annotate this one. But in the unit, you open up that one. You've got an individual copy, and you can annotate it. And if you read and annotate your textbook, I'll give you some extra credit on your test. Okay? So that's a good way to learn all the stuff you need to learn effectively. And especially if you're out or something, it's kind of organized, and hopefully it'll help you. Okay? Now it's not required. That's an optional thing because it's extra credit. But if you want to try to make really good grades and stuff, and you can carve out the time, I would study the textbook. And I'll show you how to do that. If we get to it today, we'll do it today. If we don't, it's okay. All right, that's most everything that's on the stream. Let's take a minute now and go to classwork, okay? So I've already put a number of things on here for you for today. One of the things we're going to try to get to down here under pre-instruction, I have a form I want you guys to fill out for me. It has all the information that I kind of need about you for reports I have to do, okay? And also it helps me to keep things kind of organized. It's got a place you put in your fourth period teacher so I can, let's say something comes up during the day and I realize in third period or second period, I really should have told you guys in first period something. I can let your fourth period teacher know, this might help you, okay, if I have time to do that. We'll see. So when I put things into classwork, the newest thing goes at the top. So we need to start at the bottom and work our way up, okay? This extra credit here, the Napoleon's Buttons book, it's an easy read. It's got 17 chapters, and you can read half the book in the first quarter and earn, I think, up to 3 points on your grade. On your grade, not just a test, on your grade. All right? So it's I think it's an interesting book, and it's got and it's all about chemistry. It sounds weird, Napoleon's Buttons, but part of it has to do with what might have killed Napoleon, okay, and why he got sick and died. Anyway, but it's really interesting stuff, I think. And if you want to try to earn some extra credit, here's the thing: I don't give extra credit at the end of a quarter. Okay, if your grades are bad, you probably should have been working on extra credit a little long anyway, and you got some opportunities to do extra credit. Okay, well, this is one way you can earn extra credit the whole semester, but this has to be done and finished 2 weeks before the end of the quarter, so that I have time to go through it all and check everything out and make sure that the extra credit points I'm giving you are what you deserve. Okay, it automatically grades each chapter, but I'm trying to make sure that it's all, I kind of double check stuff. That makes sense? Okay. So if you don't want to do extra credit, you don't have to. It is extra credit. All right. All right. So let's go to Unit 1 extra credit. That's where I put the textbook we talked about. Okay. And if you open that one up, it's going to say your name followed by Unit 1 text. Okay. If you open that one up, you can edit that one. Okay. And it explains to you here at the top how to annotate that. All right. So now, one of the things about electronic textbooks, and everything's going to electronic textbooks or digital textbooks, you can't put your hands on it. You can't write notes in it, and you can't underline things. And that process is a really effective way to study, okay? So what I did was to create the textbook in Google Classroom in a way that you could actually annotate it electronically. And they're working on that too. They now have textbooks that are in a PDF that you can actually annotate. But I just done it as a Google form, and Google lets me create individual copies for you, so it's your copy. You can do whatever you want to for it. What I do is, if you want to earn the extra credit, I go through that and look at your annotations and see if you've effectively annotated, and then I'll put that grade on your test. Okay? Now, let's look really quickly, because you're going to have to know some of this stuff anyway at how to do some of these things. So if you'll open up your Unit 1 textbook for a second. Okay. If you want to keep this annotation guide open while you're down on page 20 or something, you can make a copy of this. So go to the tab at the top, right click, and click duplicate. And you'll have 2 copies of it. So you can stay on that page 1 while you're down on page 20. Does that make sense? So it takes a minute for it to pop up here. There it is. So I'm going to take and grab that. I'm putting my mouse pointer on top of that tab. I'm left clicking and holding it, and I'm just going to pull it off like this to the side. Okay? And what that allows me to do is to see 2 copies of it at one time. If I put it on one side of the screen, one on the other. Or I could even put one a little behind the other or something. So I can maybe put this one over the top of it a little bit. Okay? But that way I can see the annotation guide while I'm working with it. Okay? So if I'm down here on page 4, it's got to catch up to me here a minute. There we go. I might go past it. All right. And I want to see, okay, how do I highlight a headline? Okay, well there's the guide over here. Does that make sense? That might make your life a little easier. Yeah.
Can you show me how to duplicate it again, please?
Okay, sure. You see the tab at the top?
Yeah.
Put your mouse pointer over the tab. Right click, not left click, but right click. And it'll give you a drop down menu, and one of the choices is duplicate.
Drop down means not coming out.
Yeah.
You're-
Saying,
Oh, well, hang on a second.
the only one.
All right, so here's the deal. In the Chromebooks, apparently you can't do the right click, all right, unless there's something that needs to be changed, okay? The way that you get around that then, instead of duplicating the tab, is we're going to go back to Google Classroom, and where it says that extra credit thing you click the first time, click it again, and it'll pop up another copy of it. Does that make sense? That work for you? Okay. So it'll do the same thing. It's just I've always gotten used to. I've gotten in the habit of being able to do it that way. So good. Thanks for bringing it up. I didn't realize that was the case. And I've already highlighted a couple of things here just to kind of show you what we're talking about here. All right. But we'll just scroll down here together and go to, how about, okay, here we go. I'm on page 7, okay? And it says Unit 1, Chemistry 1. It talks about the standards for this unit. And then under that, where it says significant digits. Well, significant digits are going to be very important. So we're going to highlight that, all right? So what you do is you highlight the text like this. Everybody with me so far? Now you can, by the way, if you like using a mouse like I do, you can bring your own mouse. It's fine, okay? These don't come with a mouse, but I never have gotten used to those little mouse pads, okay? I like having a mouse. All right, up here on the second toolbar, these are your choices of things you can do to this document. There's this little, I guess it's like a pen or a brush or something, and it says highlight color. So we'll click that and click yellow, and it's highlighted. Okay, that's really easy. That makes sense. Once you get used to it, you know it's easy. All right. One of the things in the most of the things that you highlight if you're going to annotate are color coded here for you. but there's one thing down here called questions in the margin. So if you have a question, say you're reading the text, you've heard me talk about it in class, or we've done an activity where you learn about something and you just still have a question about it, or you want to ask me about it to get a little more help. Okay? Well, let's scroll back down here. Let's go ahead and go to page 7, and let's highlight this same significant digits thing, and then we're going to go up here to the top, and if you look where I'm pointing right here, there's this little sort of gray box with a pointy thing off the corner. Okay, if you click that, that's going to allow you to make a comment on the document, or you can do it right here. Okay, so let me back up just a second here. So when I've highlighted this, okay, and you can see this little plus box here, that will allow you to add a comment about that specific thing. Let me move up, spread it out just a little more so you can see. So I'm just going to type in the question, what are significant, just so I practiced, okay? And that way you've got, and it, I obviously typed it incorrectly, okay? And that, boy, isn't spell check wonderful. Although sometimes it gets you on things because you put in words, and it doesn't recognize stuff, Try putting in stoichiometry. We'll talk about stoichiometry. Putting in stoichiometry, it won't recognize stoichiometry unless you train it to recognize stoichiometry. So if I press that and then I press comment, the comment's there. And that should help you remember to ask me about it if you want to ask me about it. Likelihood is, if you have a question, there's probably other people in the class who also have the same question, and they're not as brave as you to ask the question. You should ask the question, okay? I want you to ask the question, okay? I want this to be as much of an interactive class as current, rules, protocols for safety will allow us to be, okay? So feel free to ask questions, okay? Scientists ask questions. That's what science is about. It's about asking questions, trying to figure out how the universe works, all right? All right, I'm going to scroll back up here then to the, there we go, to the top. And right here, it says that you're supposed to type a learning objective. Okay, and so I've got at the beginning of every section, I've got a place for you to type that in. Now, what that does is, my suggestion is, and this is my rule or guide. This is something other people who've done research on this stuff have found is effective. Okay, so the suggestion is, and the instructions are in here to help you, is you just kind of look through here and see what the headlines are and what the highlighted words are, and what's in there and things like that. And I've even got these guided questions here to help you kind of figure out what we're going to talk about in that section, not the whole text. I've got these key questions for just a section. Okay, then I want you to type in your own words what you think you're going to learn. It doesn't have to be what you will learn; it's what you think you would learn by studying that section. That makes sense? What that does is it opens the door in your brain. It's a cognitive strategy for helping you to learn. Okay, so these are things that back when they were doing this nationwide everybody kind of trying to do the same thing, and anyway, this was some years ago. Annotations were a big part of that because we know it's an effective learning strategy. Okay, so anyway, again, it's not required. It allows you to do it. I'm gonna now, Google Docs saves automatically, right? All you have to do is wait for it to say last. Make sure it says up here in the middle that it's saved what you got. Okay, if you close it out before that, then it might not save the last thing you did. And when you turn something in, I can go back and look at every edit you made. So if you're struggling with something, need some help, I can go back and look at your document back in the history of it. Okay. All right. So that's the extra credit part we talked about. All right. Let's go to, this is today's assignment. And before we open that up, we can open it up if you want to, I guess. I'll tell you what we're doing here is, this is today's work we're going to do with the assignments. There's 2 things that are considered assignments in here. And you'll turn them in a Google Classroom. You won't turn in papers to me. This one right here is accuracy, and it's what's not seen here is precision. This is an activity that you do at home tomorrow. You'll probably be told this in other classes today too, but this time period is your class period whether you are at school or not, Monday through Friday. Okay? So when you're not here on Tuesday, you're still required to go online or however your teacher decides they're going to give you their assignments. In my case, it's all in Google Classroom. Is anybody that doesn't have Wi-Fi at home? Okay. And you can tell your peers this, well, for me anyway, I'm trying to set everything up with a few exceptions so that you can download stuff that you need to have when you're in school for stuff when you're not in school. So there are videos and things like that that you can download to your computer. Now here's the problem with downloading videos. They use up your hard drive space in a hurry. So what you do is you download it on Monday, watch it on Tuesday, and delete it Wednesday or something, okay? Because if you don't, you won't be able to download anything after a while, all right? So just be careful about downloading a lot of videos and things like that. You need to do it if you need it. I want you to do it. I've got them for you. But anyway, so tomorrow is an activity you'll do at home, okay? And it pretty much explains everything to you here. You just walk through it and do what it says, okay? So you'll print, and I've given you a copy of this, so you don't actually have to print out this form, this thing here, but you've got a copy of it in the handouts I put on your desk already. And then you do your report here, okay? So let's look at today's stuff first, and we'll try to get to that. If we can, we'll try to go over tomorrow's stuff so you have kind of a heads up on what you're going to be doing. And if you kind of get stuck on something, do as much as you can. Always try to do everything you can, and then see me if you need help, okay? All right, let's look at the first day, Intro to Chemistry, all right? And the instructions are pretty much all here. I've tried to be as thorough as I can without being overly wordy. So you're going to be assigned a laptop computer. You did that. We did it already, okay? You've got your laptop computer. You'll be shown how to use the laptop for this class. Almost all the assignments in here are in Google Classroom. And then number 3 is you'll be shown 2 apps that you must install on your smartphone. Now one of those is CamScanner. Have anybody ever used CamScanner before? Man, you're going to be glad you learned to use this. So this is you put it on your smartphone. So yeah, you can open up your smartphone right now, okay? And so you have an iPhone or an Android phone? iPhone? Okay, so what is the iPhone store? What's it called?
App Store.
Huh? App Store? Whatever it is. Anyway, and just type in the word CamScanner, okay? And if you're on Google, that's what I use. I use a Pixel phone, which is a Google phone. And make sure that when you download CamScanner, you do the free version. You don't need all the high-end stuff in the professional version. You don't need to spend the money on it. It's a free version of it, because all we're going to do is use one of the things it'll do anyway. Got it? What is it? I can't understand what you're saying. Oh, it's CamScanner. You want to get it. Okay. Now, let's just take CamScanner and open it up. You can actually go online and download the app to your phone. You don't have to do it on your phone, okay? That's what that link's for. And we'll get to getting Google Drive on your phone. Do you already have Google Drive on your phone? You do? You have Google Drive? Okay. You'll want to do that too. It's going to make turning in work super simple. Okay, if you have those 2 apps, okay? You got yours downloaded?
No,
Still doing it? Okay. We might have to come back to it if it's taking that long. How about yours? Yours done yet? Where you staying?
Mine said download.
It's still downloading? Okay, well, we'll come back to that in a minute, okay? Let's, but just to give you a heads up, what Cam Scanner does, you know what a scanner does? Okay, you put a document on there and it gives you this nice, crisp document, you know, when you copy it and it's electronic. Well, Cam Scanner kind of does the same thing. What you do is you actually you take a picture of it. And you know how when you take a picture of a document, it's kind of catty corner or whatever, it's kind of not all straight and everything, and sometimes it's fuzzy, and it'll straighten all that out. It'll clean it up. It's so much, and it makes it easy for me to read. And trust me, students turn in stuff that I can't read. The handwriting's bad enough anyway, but if they turn in a fuzzy document, boy. And just for the record, the rule is if I can't read it, I'm not going to get a headache trying. It just didn't turn in if I can't read it, okay? So Cam Scanner makes your life easy and mine too, okay? So the way this is going to work is you're going to take a picture of it in Cam Scanner. It'll clean it up and make it into look like a scanned document. And then right from Cam Scanner, you're going to upload it into Google Drive, all on your phone, okay? And then when you go into Google Classroom, if you need to turn in something you've written by hand, you just tell it you want to turn it in. It's real super simple to do that, okay? Got that? All right, we'll get back to that. All right, so while you're there in the App Store or whatever you're in there, let's also get to, and all you can do on your computer, let's all also download, you need to have Google Drive, okay? And there's a link for this, okay? And there's a link to the App Store or Google. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer if you need to. It's super simple, okay? It's going to make your life so much easier because turning in stuff is going to be because there's just some things you just need to handwrite, okay? And that, by the way, handwriting rewires your brain, okay? So computers are wonderful tools, and I love computers. I'm kind of like known on this wing as the geek guy, you know? I love computers. But there are just some things there's something about the way writing things down that wires your brain for thought processes, okay? And so if you don't write, then you're short-circuiting your learning ability. That makes sense? Okay. So that's what that is, all right? So if you don't have that already, make sure you get that done. And then there's a program, your new school computer won't use the graphing program that we used to use here, okay? I still use it, but the company that we do our software and probeware with, and we won't be able to do any labs, so you won't be able to use the probes, but we're going to still use the graphing program, okay? It's called graphical analysis. It's a slimmed down version of the same program, but it works adequately for what we need to do it for, okay? So what I want you to do is to click on that, and it's a free program, and go ahead and download that to your computer. And don't do that on your phone. You could do it on your phone, but and if you want to do it on your phone, you can. But doing graphing on your phone is a little bit tricky and tedious. So you got a computer, I'd use that, okay? Now, actually, I think you may already have graphical analysis. They told me they pushed out graphical analysis on your computer. You want to check your computer and make sure you have it already. Now, I haven't looked at the student computers. These are Google computers, so, well, the operating system, we're using Google, so make sure you use the Google Play Store. Now, let's see. It's also, I don't know which one. This is a Google Chrome operating, I guess. Try Google Play, see if does it let you do it on Google Play?
I did it on the Windows one.
It does on the Windows thing? Okay. Do you have it open yet?
Okay.
There's almost by the window.
It does by the Windows? Is yours open already?
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work on Windows?
Yeah.
Try Google Play. Okay, so I've opened up graphical analysis here. We're still waiting on yours a little bit. Okay. And when it pops up, you're going to have three choices. Since we're not going to be, this semester anyway, able to do labs back in the lab area, everything we do will have to be manual entry, okay? If we were plugging in the lab with the probes plugged into the computer, you would use sensor data collection, okay? We're going to use manual entry here, okay? And it comes up like this. Now, you've got a kind of a simplified chart or organizational system here, and I avoid using the term table because in this class, it's not a table until you publish it in a formal table format. We'll talk more about that in this unit, okay? But you put in your data for your independent variable data always goes in X, your dependent variable data always goes in Y, and it'll start graphing it for you, okay? And this will automatically give you a dot graph, okay? Not bar graphs, not pie charts, but dot graphs. And that's the only acceptable kind of graph. There's one activity we'll do in here later in the semester which asks you to do a kind of bar graph, but when we're doing experimental data, okay, where you have an independent variable and dependent variable, the only acceptable graph is always going to be a dot graph. And you always have to have a best fit line of curve. Now, if you don't know what a best fit line of curve is, now's the time to let me know, okay? And I can tell you later. I can always help you with it later. Okay.
It's not letting me open it.
Okay. It may take a minute. I think his took a few minutes, right? So while we're right here, if you'll click on this little icon in the lower left and edit graph options, you can add a graph title here, and every graph has to have a title. We'll talk more about this too. Titles are in the format of it telling me how the independent variable affects the dependent variable, okay? We'll talk more about that as we go along. We want points, okay? I don't think you really have to mess with much of anything else here. Okay. And I don't know. I'll have to play with it again to figure out how to put in the best fit line. I know I've done it before, but it's been a little while. Okay. I use them a little more sophisticated program to do this kind of thing. But I just wanted to show it to you so you know how to do that. So formal graphs have to have a title and also have to have what's called a figure label on them. We'll talk about that. The actual tables you put in lab reports will have to have table labels and column labels and things like that, and we'll talk all about that, okay? All about that. So now you've got it on your computer, we can close this out. All right, let's see where we are. All right, I guess, go back up here and see where we are. Cam Scanner, Google Drive, lab logbook. Okay, so the composition book you have on your desk is your lab logbook. I'll try to have labels printed for those tomorrow. For right now, let's just make sure your name is on the front. Okay, if you have a pen, it's better to do it in pen. Okay, do you have something to write with? Have a pen? Okay. Well, for this class, you're going to need a pencil and a pen. But you know, with the with the safety protocols and stuff, I can't hand you a pen, right? So you can put your name on it in pencil for now, and I will give you a label. Okay, I just haven't got those. I recognized this morning there was something not quite right about them, so I have to wait and redo them. But just make sure your name's on it. This is your lab logbook. It's not supposed to be used for anything else but labs and demonstrations in here. Okay? And a lot of labs you're going to do are going to be at home labs. So you'll have to do your own writing of your observations and measurements and things like that at home. In fact, the thing you're supposed to do tomorrow has a measurement component. Okay? You've got a meter stick in the handout that's part of all that stuff you do tomorrow. So you take a pair of scissors and you cut out, it's in 3 sections, you cut it out, you tape them together, and you're going to measure some things. Okay? That makes sense? Okay? So, and I keep that, by the way. I mean, it's a nice little meter stick. You can have it if you need it for something else later on. You won't have to print it again and do all the taping up and stuff and cutting out. All right, let's see where we are. Lab logbook. Okay, papers to take home. Let's find the stack of papers that has the letter on the front of it. Okay, so this is the pack. Well, let me pull up the right screen here for you. So this is the packet packet that goes home for you and your parents to go over, okay? And what I've done is, instead of having you sign 5 different sheets of paper, I've got one place for you to sign everything, okay? But it refers to everything in here. So you need to make sure you print your name, do all this in pen. Your student ID number goes here, and you the parent prints their name here, okay? This is where you're telling me that you understand the safety rules, and that's in the safety contract. You need to tell me about allergies, that's up here. And you put your name here, and you sign it, and date it, and your parent puts signs their name and puts a date here. There's a code of conduct sheet in there, explains all that. A plagiarism sheet. I was surprised the first year I started teaching, students didn't understand what plagiarism was. And so I want you to make sure you understand that. So just read that. You know, if you think you're pretty solid on that, you can sign it, I guess, without reading it. But I would recommend you read it. I actually borrowed it from somebody else. It tells you where I got it from. Class rules and procedures are in the syllabus. The supplies you're required to have for this class are in the syllabus. I won't check them until Monday, so you got a week to work on that. Contact lenses. Anybody wear contact lenses? If you wear contact lenses, those could be more of a hazardous situation in a lab. We're not going to do labs this semester, but I want you to sign for it anyway because it's part of the procedure I use. And then sometimes I do photos that I publish. You know, maybe I would put it on Facebook or something. You know, we won't do many labs, but that's what that's for. So I have permission or not permission to do that. Okay. Now, having said all that, you can also do this electronically. You don't have to print out anything on paper. You don't have to fill out anything on paper. Let's look here in the assignment thing. Let me go back and find the right page here. Got too many things up on my computer. Okay. All right. If you scroll down here, where are we? Parent and student signature form. Okay. You can either fill it out on paper, use Cam Scanner, and post it. Okay, to fulfill the assignment, or you could do it electronically here. That makes sense? So if you go to the electronic form, it's just like the form you filled out for your lunch. All right, you just go through there and read the questions and answer the questions and fill it out. Now if you do the electronic form, you have to fill it out for yourself, and your parent has to fill it out also as a separate thing. That makes sense? So it has to be done twice, but your parent can use your computer to do that. That makes sense? So I think that's easier, but it's up to you. All right, now, if you're going to choose to submit the form by writing it on paper, then you go down here where it says, yours will say your name, and it says signature sheet. Okay, so you'll use Cam Scanner, Google Drive, and you'll post that. By the way, when you upload from Cam Scanner, you're going to do it as a JPEG. A JPEG is an image format. You know who doesn't know what a JPEG is? Okay, so you're going to upload the JPEG form. Don't upload it as a PDF, and then you can copy and paste it directly into here, and that's super easy. You don't have it. Well, you might have things in your Google Drive. If we go to, do you have this? Open up this document. Your name, signature sheet, and copy and paste submission. You see that? Who doesn't have that open yet? Everybody have that open? You don't? You have to scroll down. It's kind of down at the bottom. Okay, see it now? Nope. Okay. Let me go. All right. Put your cursor underneath 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's just your instructions, and it tells you got to have Cam Scanner, Google Drive, and all that. And click up here in the toolbar, the top toolbar. Click Insert Image. All right, and then you'll have an option here. It's called a dialog box, and you want to click Drive, because at this point, if you follow the procedures, you've uploaded this photo, you have things over here, and what will pop up is this little box on the side, and the most recent thing you put in here will be right there. Okay? Now, if you don't have anything there, you just click on it. All of you have things, okay? So if you look over here, those are some of my grandkids right there. I can click that, just double click it, and it pops right in there. Super easy, okay? And I'm going to take that out. All right, just so you know. Alrighty, so that's how you turn it in if you want to do the signature sheet by hand, okay? I think it's easy to do electronically, but it's all up to you. Okay, now, we've got one actual activity to do today, okay? So this is where you're going to use your lab log book. So open up your lab log book. All right, so like I said, I'll give you a label, probably tomorrow, okay? But let's go to the first page inside. Now, you only write on the right-hand side, never on the left-hand side. Now, of course, the first page is only on the right-hand side, but what we don't want to do is I want to leave this side blank so that I can write notes to you, okay? What I want you to do at the top of that page right here is write table of contents. Okay? And so it's your responsibility to keep up with everything that you're doing in here, okay? You only have to put the name of the activity. You don't have to have a new table of contents thing every time you start on a new page. If it's the same activity, you just write it one time. So you may have 5 pages of notes for a lab that we're doing. You have procedures and hazards and observations and things like that. But you only have to do that one time in the table of contents. Now, this person put the page numbers on the left. I'd prefer you to put the page numbers on the right, okay? So just the name of the activity and page numbers, all you have to do. You don't have to put the date on the table of contents, all right? Now, you may not need more than one page of table of contents, but I always recommend students do a second page of table of contents just to be certain that you've got enough space. You don't want to have to end up near the end of the semester and don't have enough room for table of contents. Okay? And then when we get to your labs, and we're going to do our demonstrations because we don't really have any real in-class labs anyway. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to put a page number in the upper right. So I guess this will be your page 3, right? And you can write page 3. You can just put the number 3. You can put 3 in a circle. I don't really care how you do it as long as there's a page number there. So every time you have something new on a new page number goes here. Okay? Any day you start something in this lab log book. So today is the 17th. You need to have a date in the upper left, but wait, because the dates have to be done in a particular format for me. It's a format that will work so that if you do it this way, it helps you with spreadsheets if you ever need to have graph things by date, okay? So the way you're going to write a date, and I'll show you how to do this, you're going to write the year, then dash, and the number of the month. And so this is 08 at the time we're doing this anyway, and 17. Okay? Does that make sense? So try to remember that. I will keep reminding you, but that's the format I want you to do dates all the time. Just so you get in the habit, so that if you ever need to put things in a spreadsheet by date, it helps you to organize things. If you sort things in a spreadsheet, it helps that to go along smoothly. If you ever need to graph things by date, you don't have problems with it that way, okay? And since we're in the sciences of graphing, it's kind of important, all right? And then you're going to put a title on the top line. Now, for this activity, I want you to decide on your own title, but I'll give you some guidelines for titles. Titles should always be about what you're trying to accomplish in your lab log book. The one you put in your lab log book should be about what you're trying to accomplish, okay? So in this lab, I'm hoping that you're going to learn a lot more about observations and inferences, okay? So you want to put what your goal is or what you hope to accomplish in this lab, all right? You ready to get started? All right, let's go to the actual observation. This is what you're going to write your observations for. Everything you see, everything that's happening here. Try to be as thorough as you can. And again, you're going to write this in your lab log book and you're also going to type it on the Google form. And that's really all there is to it. Just be thorough. Now let's go back over here to Google Classroom and want to find this document here, which says CW, that's for classwork, Unit 1, observe, infer. And of course, the only thing showing on the screen is OBSE, but that's what the whole title is. If you hold it over there, sometimes there's a little thing will pop up. A pop-up will show you what the whole title is. We want to open that up. So again, that's one of those forms I want you to fill out, okay? So go ahead and type in your last name and your first name and choose what class you're in, kind of class you're in, and what your class period is. We're running short on time, so be as quick about that as you can. Oh, since the rule in here is no phones, if there's something like this where your mother's in the hospital or something, okay, just let me know so I'll know what's going on. I won't, tell you to put your phone away or whatever. Just don't start doing it on your own, please. Now, under the observation number 1, just summarize. Don't try to put everything you put in your lab logbook for right now, because this is more about practicing filling out forms and things than it is actual doing. I mean, if we had more time, I'd let you type a thorough observation in here, okay? And you notice there's a big stop sign right there, so you wait until we get ready to do the next thing. So just type in a few things, and let's move on to the rest of the observation then, okay? Or the second observation. Got you ready? All right. So, after you write this in your lab logbook, and remember all demonstrations, because a lot of things are going to be demonstrations this year since we can't really do in-person labs, you're going to write down your second observation, or summarize that here, under the stop sign. The instructions are all here, okay? And then we'll talk more about this the next time we're in class. About the rest of this, about what other things we need to talk about, okay? We may have to go back and fill out this form again if necessary, okay? Or you can do it, well, I don't know if you can do it at home, but you might be able to. Yeah, you could read this stuff, you could do this at home if you wanted to, okay? We're kind of running short on time, and if you had to do it at home, you could do it at home. In fact, I'm going to close this out for a minute and show you, if you were not in class today, okay, you're out sick, there's a video for this. Okay, if you click right here, this video will go through everything we're going through right now. Okay, we'll explain all this stuff to you. Okay, so you can do this activity even if you're not in class. Got that? Okay. All right, so here's the second part of the observation. This is the same thing you saw earlier. And yes, that's the observation. Just in case you thought I was trying to trick you and I wasn't really eating it, it was some kind of magic trick. Here we go, pay attention. Yes, it's gone. So this is a demonstration, but it's just like a lab report, and you fill it out and read the instructions carefully. It'll tell you what to do. This is your homework in addition to getting your paperwork signed, okay? So you've got paperwork and you got the post demonstration. And if you want to go back and watch the video and do this whole thing over from home, you can do that, okay? If you care, I think you probably saw everything you need to see, and you have everything in your lab logbook you need. But everything is here you want to do. Now, you're not really ready to give me definitions of inferences and observations yet. You will have to watch the video for that. Okay, so I got the video there for you. If you look at the video, it'll go through the demonstration, but kind of further on, you can kind of skip over some places and find where it starts talking about the stuff that goes into this report. That makes sense? But that's your homework. Got that? Everybody clear? All right. Anybody have any questions? All right. Normally, and I was a little surprised, normally when I finish up that observation, that second observation, I get some, what? You know, you kind of did that with your eyes, but nobody, you know, we got too few people in here right now, okay? And that's what we're looking for. Now, when we come back into class, and I might put in tomorrow's homework or something, I might cut a video for that. We'll talk more about what all these things are, okay? About how to do solid. Well, actually, it's in the video, so you're going to finish this at home. All right, got that? So you'll be all set. Anybody have any questions? You all set? Okay, let's talk about protocols for safety. All right, when you go from this class to your next class, stay 6 feet apart and walk on the right side of the hallway. And you can't leave your desk without your mask on. Got that? Everybody clear? We want to try to keep. We don't want to have to close the school because there's an outbreak of COVID-19. All right? Yeah.
The school needs to let us know when we get our IDs.
Yeah, they're going to take care of that. You know what? Man, I forgot there was a time period for me to do that. You don't have an ID? You.
You're my last year.
I had mine from last year.
They
Well, you
never
can- you-
made another one.
You don't need another one. No. You got your last year's ID. You're good.
They never say that to us.
They did that when they check out books, and we don't check out books in here. So that this year they are doing it that way. Normally you would go down to the principal's office and do it, but you don't have to do that. So, or when you register, okay. But yeah, if you got your last year's ID, you're all set. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up though, because I remember that next period. If anybody needs an ID, I got to send them in there to get an ID, because we don't check out books, but you get an ID at the same time. So walk down the right side of the hallway. Wash your hands a lot. Okay. I have lots of sinks in here and lots of soap. If you want to wash your hands in here, please go wash your hands. Okay, you have my permission to do that. Hand sanitizer is great. In fact, I got a great big old bottle of hand sanitizer over there that the school provided. You can use that, but washing your hands is more effective. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Are you all scared to death? No, you're all good. You are, or what are you scared about? Nothing. No, you just pulling my leg here, huh? Okay. All right. You know, we do. I hate that we can't do labs because a lot of those labs I think are kind of fun, you know, but the demonstrations can be fun too. I just hate that we don't get to do that because really doing hands-on labs, it's kind of like you're taking a driver's ed class, but you can't drive the car. That's, you know, and really even labs themselves are not really driving the car, because you're not really doing real research. I try to set up labs so at least some of them are like doing real research, sort of, but we aren't really doing real science until you actually do research. Okay? Anybody have any no questions? You're all good? Okay. Well, I'll see you back here on Wednesday. Remember, this class period is your class period whether you're at home or at school Monday through Friday. So tomorrow, I'm expecting you to be doing this work. On Friday, we will have a virtual class. I will be online. We'll use Google Meet. We'll talk more about that the next time you're here. Okay? And if you at the top of your classwork stream or your classwork page here, there was last year. There it is. See Meet right here? All you have to do is click that. Okay? And you're in the meeting with me. All right? Got it? And one of the nice things about that too is if I'm explaining something and I need to record it for somebody, I can record it. I can record the meet. Okay, just like I'm recording our class right now. Okay? All right, you guys have a good day and be safe. All right.